Man, what the? Why was I? Now it doesn't. It did this last week on the Raw review too. It doesn't automatically unmute us anymore when we go live. But anyways, that botch aside, we are 6 minutes past, so I could finally say this. We're fucking live, folks. It's time for WrestlePurists Worldwide. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. I'm excited because, folks, tonight we're going to talk about WWE Crown Jewel, of course, which emanated from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Saturday afternoon. But we're also going to talk about New Japan's Power Struggle show, which happened this morning. And very exciting show, very noteworthy show, a show that featured the return of Kenny, by God, Omega. The best bout machine is back. He cut a promo, and Angle was shot backstage with him and Gabe Kidd. He will be wrestling in the Tokyo Dome in January. I'm locked in. I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. So we will be breaking down Power Struggle, the results, the matches, all the big angles and directions set for Wrestle Dream. We will be talking about WWE Crown Jewel. Roman Reigns gets pinned by Solo Sikoa in a trios match. And not much else of note, but Cody is the Crown Jewel champion, as is Liv Morgan. So we'll talk about those two shows. We'll also answer all of your questions. I have been working the phones, and so I'll tell you guys this is a unique one. I don't think this is very unprofessional of me. I didn't write anything down. I don't think I have any overt scoops to, like, dun 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 news alert at the end of the show. But I have been working the phones and I have been talking to WWE and AEW. And so if you have questions, I may have the answers to those questions. So guys, make sure to like the video and comment and subscribe as well, of course. But also send us some super chats. Ask us any questions that you may have about whatever is happening in AEW or WWE. And beyond that, just feel free to give us your opinions on this weekend's wrestling. I mean, Collision had a good show, which had one really, really surprisingly great match on it. So if you want to talk about that, you want to talk about Crown Jewel, Power Struggle, wrestling as a whole, this is your opportunity to get those super chats in now, because once we steam through those, we're going to go right into the reviews. So get them in now, folks. Get those super chats in with your questions, your opinions, your comments. And while you guys are doing that, Montel, how are you doing today?
You know what? I'm good. I'm good because it seems like New Japan is rising from the flames like a phoenix. We might be back.
Brother.
I don't want to get too carried away though, you see, because like I need like 2 or 3 big shows in a row to hit. You know what I'm saying? and then I'll feel comfy putting my jersey back on. You know, I've been off the court for New Japan for a minute, bro. Like it's been a minute.
I'm sitting. I told you off air, Monty, but I threw this thing on, and I gotta admit, some of this is informed by Monty. I have this really technological setup now. I got this like really expensive chair, like really, really expensive chair that like has an automated, like it can like lean back like a hospital chair. It could sit up. It has a setup where I could put my laptop on the side and a monitor next to it. It's a real fancy schmancy setup here. You know what I mean? Big business. The point is, I threw New Japan up on the monitor, and I'm sitting back and I'm getting massaged and all that shit, right? And I'm watching the show, and I'm like, man, this is I'm liking the vibes of this show. I'm liking the vibes of this show. And everyone has their working boots on. I'm like, yo, man, niggas is wrestling tonight. And I'm like, that was good. Next match, I'm like, that was good too. I'm like, hold on, that was great. And I'm like, man, these guys are going for it. And I'm like, yo, this show is sick. And then there's the post-match angles and the Wrestle Kingdom directions. And I'm like, I can fuck with that. All right, I can fuck with that. And they'll do this thing. I'm like, all right, And then like I'm seeing myself like getting mad at heel turns and shit and swerves. And I'm like, oh no, Sonata, you piece of shit, no, And I'm like, man, this show.
Sonata.
I'm like, no, Sonata turning.
Not just 5 guys,
Just 5 guys. What's Yuya gonna think? And then fucking, I'm watching, and I'm watching the main event, and it hits me, Monty. I'm like, wait, I'm watching a New Japan show where I don't have to go, it's a night's on main event. Let me lock in and let me try to fucking fake like this, I don't gotta watch Sonata main event. I'm watching 2 main event top guys who can still wrestle at a high level, doing a great match. And the bottom line is, as familiar as the Zack Sabre Jr. Shingo Takagi dynamic is, the bottom line is these niggas don't miss. Like they can sleepwalk their way to like a 3 3/4 match. And here they were not sleepwalking. They were going crazy. They had an excellent main event, and an excellent main event that had also a really interesting post-match angle. One of, like I said, many on this show. So I'm like, man, New Japan. And I realized, Monty, my personal wellness and joy when it comes to pro wrestling, New Japan and Puro in general, truthfully, is so pivotal to that, Monty, because when I'm not in love with anything happening in Japan, it's hard for me to really, really be excited about wrestling, no matter what's happening in WWE or AEW. There's just something about the itch it scratches, like WWE or AEW can't reach that part of my back. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what it is. I'm really excited. I was so excited about this show. I'm really happy. And before I get to super chats, I also must note, Monty, and this is a bit, I don't want to say bit, but this is an error that's pending is what I'll say. Because I want to congratulate Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Oh my bro. What's going on, bro?
Davey Boy Smith Jr. is the Triple Crown champion.
I had to double, triple check that one when I woke up this morning.
The first member of the Hart family to win the Triple Crown. Here's the cool thing about it. I was into All Japan early this year, Monty. Because Nakajima's in there doing the Inoki bit, and I'm like, this pops me, and he's doing his matches with Kento, and they fucking rule, and he's just beating up on dudes and stiffing them like he always does. He's a piece of shit, right? But then he loses to Anzai and walks off, and he's gone, and I'm like, oh man. But Anzai, he kept me in the game because this young brother can ball. You know what I'm saying? This young brother can do his thing. But All Japan's depth chart is like, they go like 6 deep. So he runs through like their whole main event scene in like 2 months. And I'm like, well, shit. Now what? And the now what was, all right, let's give the belt to Yuma Aoyagi. And I was like, I'm out. Fuck that. Fuck you. No, thank you. I'm good on Yuma Aoyagi. And clearly All Japan is too, because they said, fuck that, fuck this. We're giving the belt to Davey Boy. So I'm not going to be shameless because I still have not actually watched this match, Monty. And I could watch it and it might fucking suck. It might fucking suck. But in the pictures, I look at Davey Boy and he looks like a champion,
Come on, bro.
He's over 6 foot, great physique. You know what I mean? The steroids.
All I'm saying is, the Brits are doing very well in Japan at the moment. Top of the men's divisions. It's
Monty. If this is a 3.5, next week, baby, I might change my profile picture.
Stop it.
At the end of the day, and the funny thing about it, Monty, is on this day in 1984, the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith, Dynamite Kid, they shocked the world, Monty, because they defected from New Japan Pro Wrestling and they went to All Japan. The legacy continues, history, time is a flat circle, all those euphemisms, because the bottom line is, he finished the vision of his daddy. Davey Boy never got to win the Triple Crown. He never even got the challenge for it. Dynamite never even got to leave the junior division. But now the son, the prodigal son wins the Triple Crown in 2024. So congratulations to him. My joy is back. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. It's WrestlePurists Worldwide. Let's get this show on the road.
We're doing super chats, yeah?
Let's get to the super chats.
Let's do it, man. Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate it as always. The Hurt Syndicate, best thing on AEW TV by miles, not even close. Who do you think will be the backup for Swerve? I'd like to see Samoa Joe.
I don't think Swerve's going to have backup.
None at all.
I don't. He may after Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
He may strike a temporary partnership for some TV tags. Yeah. But this is generally his fight to handle.
Okay.
That's how I'll explain this to you without spoiling people. I can tell you guys this. If you're a Swerve fan, you should definitely lock into this week's Dynamite because he's going to be a man on a mission this week. He is going to be a man on a mission this week. And stay tuned for that.
Darren Walker again, £5. Appreciate you. Opening segment of NXT last week, Bully Ray did a great babyface promo. Even got a pop by putting the glasses on. He worked the crowd better than Hogan. It was shameless.
It was some nasty business because The
You
truth
got
is,
like 2 or 3 segments on that show.
we got two live in the ring segments, 2 of them, and the nasty
Close
part
the
about it is,
tape.
they might have been. I think they were the only 2 live segments in the ring on the entire show, but then they both went to Bully. And the nasty thing is, like, the truth is, he is a great promo, or he's great at talking, right? He's great at talking, and so promo number 1 is just him, like, like, those guys in the back, the honor and the integrity of the guys in the back. I don't want to sully that. Da, 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 da. I can't do it anymore. Blah, blah, blah. And Trick is like, hey, man, come on, Bully. He's like, Bubba Ray Dudley, Trick Willie in the ECW arena. Come on now. And like the crowd is like, yeah, one more match. Well, this guy worked these fans into a tizzy and made these NXT fans think that they wanted to see him wrestle. And I'm like, why? And they're cheering for him, and he's looking at them like, can I really do it? Can I do it, guys? And he's putting the glasses on, and I'm like, my God. And then in the second segment, Ridge Holland does the whole deal. He goads him, he shits on his legacy and the Dudley Boys legacy, and he's just like, Ridge Holland, Ethan Page versus Trick Williams and Bubba Ray Dudley in the ECW arena. And the crowd is like, yeah, they're going crazy. What's going to be like a nothing match. And like they're losing.
Could be actively like terrible.
Yeah, it could genuinely be actively. Like, no bullshit. This should be like 5 minutes, pop the fans, and just do the greeting, get the fuck out of there. The longer this goes past minute 5, and the more embarrassing it could be. So for the sake of everybody involved in the legacy of ECW, let's not drag it any further through the mud. Let's skip this one.
Bubba Ray hot take is gonna be nice.
It's gonna be. He's actually, people love to throw the term grifter around and misuse it so much. He's a shoot grifter like that. This is what grifting is. Like the way he's gotten himself into this position to where he got a multi-week build on national television for a major match on, again, network TV, not cable, network TV, is like insane.
It's wrong on so many levels, bro. Like,
Bischoff couldn't pull this off.
It's like Ridge Holland is the bridge. Like
it's on so many. I don't care what some of these kids, like these niggas, want to get mad at me about whatever. I'm not even mad about this anymore. It's just like preposterous. It's like whatever, But yeah, that's gonna be this Wednesday, going head to head with AEW, a day after Election Day, where it'll be Wednesday, and the election will totally be resolved by Wednesday night, of course. And these 2 shows will be going head to head.
Wesley Ham, $5. Appreciate it. With Rhea injured, are they going to drag out her feud with Liv till Mania or not?
I don't know yet. I asked WWE and they wouldn't tell me. I was like, hey, so are you guys prolonging? Oh, here's the thing. I wouldn't immediately assume, even if it is going to get prolonged, that it's prolonged to Mania, is what I would say. Mania next year is going to be deep into April. And so we have all of November, all of December, and then 4 more months. I wouldn't immediately assume that. I could presume a situation where Rhea is able to come back in, at the end of this year, early next year, and they just kind of wrap it up. But the specifics on how it's going to be handled, they would not tell me. So there you go.
It's always touch and go when there's an injury like that.
Correct.
Top star, because it's like
they were very frustrated about this one though, because they were gonna wrap this one up. Yeah, they were gonna wrap the storyline up. Like, so Rhea was going to face Raquel at Saudi, is what they told me. They said she was going to face Raquel at Saudi. She's going to beat Raquel at Saudi, and then it was going to be resolved in the month after, like roughly in the month and a half after. So my personal guess, they didn't overtly say this to me. I think they were going to do Raquel, then they were going to do War Games, and then she was going to wrap it up at Saturday Night's Main Event with Liv Morgan one-on-one. That's what I think they were going to do. This whole thing now has to get rearranged. I don't know if they still do women's War Games at this point. They honestly may, because Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are set to enter a TV program with Raquel and Liv. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what they end up doing. Ideally, listen, in my personal opinion, if they really look, I get it if the company like loves Liv as a TV act. You can keep that going. You can have her be with Raquel if you want. You can give her belt to someone else and let them do their tag stuff, and then you figure it out from there. So we'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, we'll see how it's handled. Legend Rider $2 solo pinning Cody and Roman this year is hilarious.
It's
he's taking it all, bro.
It doesn't feel earned at all. Like
it's nasty, bro. It's like he pinned Roman last night. No, not last night, on Saturday. And I've already said like it should have been Jacob Fatu, because like when Solo pins Roman, and it's like I don't buy it, you know.
Yeah,
like I don't buy into
about...
him being an actual eventual singular threat to Roman Reigns.
No.
Whereas like if you throw it back to like last year when they did Money in the Bank, when Jey Uso pinned Roman, that was like a real moment, you know, within that story, the way the crowd reacted. Like, I was there with Joe, and it was like a party for like 45 minutes after the show ended and went off air. Like, it's crazy. When Roman got pinned in this, like, it weren't like, of course, a few people were shocked and that, but it weren't like this. Didn't feel like this momentous thing, you know.
That's the thing. Roman Reigns getting pinned is usually like a holy shit type of thing, and here it was just kind of like, okay,
yeah. So it was just a thing that happened. You know?
Yeah, I just kind of laughed. I was like, all right, like okay. That's the other thing is it's hard to feel like this is gonna catapult Solo to a different level now that he's beaten him. It doesn't feel like that at all. Mm-hmm. It's just like, all right, well, they're gonna prolong that match. My assumption, to be honest with you, is that Solo Roman is going to be the direction either for Saturday Night's Main Event or the Rumble, and I don't think they know yet. Maybe I'm wrong, because again, the Mania stuff is being held close to the vest. And when I was talking to them about like some of the Bloodline stuff, they straight up said to me like, "Look, we're getting some of this planned stuff out the way because we don't know what the fuck's going to happen when Dwayne's back around in January." They basically implied to me that like once Dwayne's back, there's two bosses, and when there's two bosses, this shit gets chaotic. So they basically said, the shit that was kind of our bullet point stuff we wanted to get through, let's just fucking fly through that shit and start January. And when this fucker's back around and he's like, I actually had this idea. What if we did? It's not gonna be like, oh, you fucked up this. Like, no, they just got through that. So I say all that to say, they have an idea of what they think Roman's match is. Roman knows what he wants it to be, but who the fuck knows what's gonna happen when Rock comes in? He's like, no. Me and Roman on night one, me and Cody night two, and they're all like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And they just throw their papers and shit, you know. So, yeah,
Jesus, boo.
Sorry, I fucking knocked
punching you, Jesus. Stop making it.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, all right, you scared me. All right, there we go.
Yeah, man, I miss Dwayne. I miss him a lot.
You know where his absence is felt to me is I realize like I'm pretty bored of like the standard style Bloodline TV stuff, but like when Rock is around, it's never like paint by numbers. You know what I mean? He goes out of his way for his segments to be really creative and different and like, you know, like.
Hey, what are you doing?
What?
So you're rubbing against your mic, like
what
pervert shit are you doing over there?
Hold on, all right, I'm gonna plug this and plug it back. Hopefully,
it's because it's rubbing against something. It's not like the mic. So the mics on laptops are usually underneath it. So if you're trying to sit with your laptop on your lap, that's probably what it is. God, the technical difficulties of dealing with WrestlePurists people. That's what I have to go for. Look at the chat's game. Oh, okay.
Okay, can you?
All right, people. Yes, we can hear you, Bill.
Okay, am I fine now?
Yes.
How did it sound to you guys?
It just sounded like you was. You know, like say if I just started rubbing my mic now, like that's what it sounded like. You got a bit crazy, bro. You know. Anyway, next super chat.
The wire just came loose. Like it was. I didn't move.
Austin Kinkle, $5. Appreciate you as always. I predict the women's War Games match will be the Sky Pirates, Jade and Bianca versus Liv, Raquel, Dakota, and a fourth, unfortunately.
No, I could see that. That would be so nasty, Monty. Dakota comes back. It's like, oh my God, it's Dakota. And then she turns ill and she's like, you never were my friend, Leo Sky. And it's like, what the fuck is going on there? You know, I could see it. I'm not looking forward to that. I think just don't force it, bro. Just don't. Like, I've been repeating this. I get this feeling that they're going back and forth week by week on if they're doing women's war games. That's the feeling I'm getting personally. But we'll have a better idea within the next 2 weeks. To me, I just think don't force it. Do whatever your natural match you want to do with Liv is, and then do something else for some other women. But I guess we'll see. I could see the scenario that Austin's laying out, to be honest.
Yeah. Berserk, $10, appreciate you. Corbin was given bad creative for years, and letting him go after he gets a decent character / moveset sucks. Didn't want Tegan / Indy to be fired, but they weren't good and their futures were dim.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, because I saw a tweet where someone basically was like, hey man, this isn't it for Corbin. Like, he can have the Drew McIntyre run and come back. And it's like, bro, Drew McIntyre.
What?
Drew McIntyre.
I don't even hate Corbin, but what the
like what do you? Yeah, like, dude. Look, here's the thing. Drew McIntyre, when he was fired, he was like 28 years old. Monty. Baron Corbin is 40. He is 40. And then beyond that, Corbin had no non-WWE background ever. Drew McIntyre was an independent wrestler before he got into their developmental system. And then beyond that, he had like a respect for like wrestling outside of that. Corbin wasn't even a wrestling fan. So like, it just on so many levels, it just doesn't really compute to being the same thing. I don't know if he still wrestles. I'd imagine he's the type of guy where if AEW were to call him and say, hey, you want to still be on national TV and get 6-figure money? He's like, yeah, sure, cool, you know. But like, if random indies are like, hey, I want to book you and this and that, he strikes me as a guy who's going to be like, yeah, this is my fee, and it's going to be this like absurd fee that the promoter's going to tell him to go fuck himself, and he'll just do some other thing with his life. So we'll see. To the point of Berserk, I didn't really enjoy much of Corbin ever until like the last year, hilariously. And the Wolf Dogs with Braun Breaker was an excellent tag team. And he came back to the main roster, and he was still like, I still enjoyed him in his small spots on SmackDown. So it's a shame in that respect, I guess. But at the end of the day, if you as a company don't see much in the future of a guy, and you don't see that you're going to use him, then you might as well not sign him to another deal when the deal's coming up. I'd rather that personally than the company being like, all right, yeah, let's tie up
talent.
Right.
It's been
like,
an issue for the past like 6 years now.
Yeah,
you know?
if you're not going to use the guy, then don't sign him. So
yeah, so what is like you said, like what's the long term upside of a 40-year-old Corbin? And like, I mean, to the super chat, he's bad creative. Yeah, he has had some bad creative, but it's not for lack of opportunity, bro. He was a top heel in WWE for like 2 years at one point, you know. And that's not to say that the creative was good. It was bad at the time, but like I said, it wasn't to lack of opportunities for someone like Baron Corbin. He had so many, you know. Think how many top programs he worked. And I've always thought he was like a decent part of TV, but again, at 40 years age, what is the long-term upside of him? And I think at this time, you know, when you're trying to prioritize TV minutes and stuff, it's like how can you prioritize somebody like Corbin rather than
the other
somebody
problem
else who
is
you're trying to get over or one of your top guys?
The other problem is WWE and AEW, they just don't do deals that aren't 3 or 4 or 5 years, which is like dumb to me. Because to me, there's so many guys in wrestling that I think, yeah, that's a 1-year extension type of guy. You know, like, would I have extended Corbin for 1 year to like maybe put people over and just be a body? Yeah, I would. Would I give Corbin a 5-year deal? Fuck no. No, I would not. For what reason? So, yeah, that's the thing with him.
Yeah, then like, I honestly don't think he should have ever got called up. Like again, you know.
You would have just kept him in NXT.
Yeah, I would have just kept him in NXT for as long as he could have been serviceable.
Here's the pathetic state of NXT's men's division. He would literally be one of their best wrestlers in the men's division, which is like,
I mean, he's just got someone who's good at TV, got TV chops, etc. He can do a little bit of everything. He's not exactly exceptional at everything, but he's comfortable at pretty much everything, you know.
Give him a TV program with TV.
That's good to have around, like your young talent in the TV, in the PC and stuff. So, you know, like, no, even Bron Breakker got a bit more personality working with
Yeah, no,
Corbin.
He benefited from working with him, and I tweeted this jokingly, but I'm kind of serious. Braun needs to steal Corbin's deep six and the days. Like he needs to.
Someone said Oberfemi. I was like, yeah, bro.
Fuck that. Give it a Braun break. Imagine big Braun matches where he could just do a deep six as a counter. That sounds super sick, you know. So,
Berserk really fighting for Corbin now. $10. Appreciate you again, though.
letting
Corbin and Dijak walk.
Is crazy.
Letting Corbin and Dijak walk whilst keeping multiple preschool stalkers and other predators who provide less, if not nothing. Shake my head. Hunter cursed Kelmsley still got the Vince gene. Jesus.
Who? They got preschool stalkers up in there? What's going on?
Preschool stalkers. It's an accusation, brother.
What's going on? Yo, what's going on?
I don't know, man. Like I said, bro, brother's fighting. He's fighting the battle for Corbin.
I will say, like I said, NXT could use both of those two dudes easily. Also, I hate to see Dijak like this. I actually am a fan of his. I think he's a good wrestler. Bro, he's like on the it just I don't know, man. I'm not even making fun.
I hate to see him like this. It's crazy. He's finished.
He drove himself to Forbidden Door to kind of like basically give Tony his resume and shake his hand and stuff. And now he's on the timeline like basically like asking Ricochet to be like the mystery guy of a tag match that he's obviously not figured into. And it's just like I don't know. Now, look, me personally, if I'm Tony, I would have taken him before I took the Grizzled Young Veterans, but that's just me. Look, the bottom line is Tony clearly had a chance to take him and clearly in his head said, no, I don't want Dijak. Because if not, why is he not there? So he clearly decided that. And so Dijak's kind of just doing the indies, which, we like the indie scene is gone, you know what I mean? And he's pitching his own creative on the time. Again, I hated had to be him. If I'm Shawn Michaels, again, this is the situation where I'm like, hey man, you want to do a 1-year deal and help out, bro, while these dudes figure out what's going on here. But doesn't appear to be the situation right now.
But yeah, just generally speaking, to your point, like it is kind of a shame that we don't see more like even like 6-month deals, 12-month deals, 18-month deals.
Yes, there's so many wrestlers that could just fit in for that. You know what I mean? Get pushed. Like this is the benefit of the territory system. You know what I mean? Where it's like you got a guy gets to run, they get pushed, they run through certain people, and then they get heated up to then lose to a certain guy.
When I thought it was really cool when TNA gave me a 6-month contract.
Yes, bro.
That was like the perfect deal for her at that time of her career. Like it was
regain your confidence, get back in gear. You do some matches, and you get the fuck out of there. Some of these companies, like, you don't need to be there for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And again, like I said, Tony Khan and Nick Khan, they're signing dudes to 3 years and 5 years, and they get buyer's remorse on half of these deals in a year. And then both of them are like, well, especially with Tony, he's like, I don't do releases. And it's like, sometimes maybe you should just do releases, for at least like specifically for the people that want to be out, everybody, before the wokes get me and say I'm advocating for anyone's firing. Just saying, but I don't know, man.
Hush 199, monster carry job by Big Gunther, blonde politician.
Cody versus Gunther was an effortlessly great match, and I think it's gonna be one of those like underrated matches when you get to the end of the year, Monty, because as it stands right now, the general consensus on the match is Cage Match has it in the high 7s, and like a lot of people thought it was kind of like one of Gunther's weaker pay-per-view matches, and some people thought
gave it a 4.
Yeah, and but I guess my point is like, there's a lot of people that weren't crazy about it or thought it was one of Gunther's weaker matches. But for me, I thought it was like a sleeper great match because it was like effortlessly great. They just kind of went out there and wrestled like in this really naturally escalating way, very classical, very old school in that way. You felt the All Japan in that. You felt kind of just like the old school American territoriness in the way it kind of like progressed upwards naturally. And just the conventions of how the match progressed. It was just very, very throwback. And I loved watching it. I had a great time with it. It was the type of match where I was settled in and I could have gone for another 10 to 15 minutes, frankly. Like they had a vibe where they could have wrestled for a 45-minute match, to be honest with you, and then I would have had no issue with it. And they pretty much cut the match off before they really hit like the next level, like match of the year level gear, and I still thought it was excellent. So that's Ibu's review of that match, and I don't think Cody was carried at all. I thought Cody's performance in it was great. I think it was very natural to what Cody's skill set is. I saw a lot of 1992 Sting in that match from Cody Rhodes.
The House has spoken. 499. Appreciate it. Is Kenny not cleared until Wrestle Dynasty? When should we expect him back in AEW? Also, Saturday was the best collision. The best collision has been in a while.
Do not aggregate this. Do not aggregate this because it's not a report. I am simply sharing what people are saying. Very different thing. People can say people within AEW.
Okay.
They can say things amongst each other. That doesn't necessarily mean this is fact. There's differences. Nobody in an official capacity. I'm opening Reddit right now. Nobody in an official capacity confirmed this to me. Nobody in official capacity was like, yes, Ibu WrestlePurists, this is what's going on. Partially because maybe they're trying to keep it close to the vest because they want to do an exciting angle. But the word is, Monty, that Kenny's good.
Well, you did say that he's feeling good. You know, obviously it was like a backstage promo and stuff, but I'm optimistic, bro.
The word amongst everybody is that Kenny Omega is good. And you know what? I'll give you guys an add-on scoop for later. This is your hook. I got some Young Bucks information for you guys a little bit later in this show. So tell your friends. Backup Hangman has some, some Young Bucks stuff to give out for later in the show.
The House has spoken. 499. CM Punk should be in the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame, but Wrestling Observer Newsletter voters jumping through hoops to not vote for him is mental.
It's a shame. It's like, usually Observer voters in general are good at being just kind of like objective. But I really do personally feel that like certain like people's personal feelings on like how certain things played out in AEW is affecting his candidacy. And it doesn't look like, according to Dave was talking about it this yesterday morning. It doesn't look like Punk is on route to becoming a Hall of Famer. And it's a bit of a shame. I think he's an Observer Hall of Famer for all of his contributions to wrestling. And how
he's last year on the ballot or anything, though, is he?
No, I don't think so. He's not going to get in. Roman Reigns isn't getting in, and that really made Dave mad. That's really funny. Dave was so mad at that. Dave was like,
bro, it's insane.
He basically was like, what are y'all fucking talking about? This guy's been the top guy of the company like, long, and he talked about like their business boom is happening on his back and da-da-da-da. And he basically was like, that's a joke. And it was funny because they're talking about other historical people that are en route to making it this year. It looks like Junkyard Dog is getting in, and it looks like Kerry Von Erich's getting in. And Dave was basically like, yo, that's what's up. Roman better. What is wrong with y'all? And like that was basically his energy. He was like, what is wrong with you people? I don't know. That's not my fight to have.
It's also like it's only a shame, depending on how much value you put into the Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame.
It is a good Hall of Fame, I will say.
It's pretty decent in the way that they the way that they induct people and like giving kind of like the public the chance to vote. Well, not necessarily the public, but the subscribers, and it's not exactly like there's this huge barrier of access, but still.
It doesn't look like the Bucks are getting
there still is kind of I won't call them biases for the sake of the conversation, but there still is like some clear preferences amongst that group of fans which are newsletter readers,
My thing is
vote on these things.
So here's the thing. I like Hall of Fames that are hard to get into. Like that's how these things should be. But then again, I think about like certain people in wrestling, and I end up turning into the NBA Hall of Fame. And for context, Monty, like it is so easy to get in the the Basketball Hall of Fame. If you were like good for a couple of years, you're just in it. Like you just get in. I turned into that mode because people are like the Bucks should get in. I'm like, of course they should. People are like, oh, Roman should get in. I'm like, yeah, of course. CM Punk. I'm like, well, no shit. God damn it. Randy Orton and Edge have been on the ballot for a little bit, and they still have not gotten in. And Dave has been like, bro, get Randy and Edge in the fucking Hall of Fame. And they're like never going to get in, to be honest with you. But you ask me, I think all those dudes are, have contributed enough to pro wrestling to get in. So that's just me. Maybe Randy, you can maybe argue about that one a little bit. But I mean, Edge, in terms of like what he's contributed to the genre of like multi-man tag team plunder wrestling and how that's affected the business artistically, you know, and beyond just like the long career and Roman's career and, you know, what the Bucks have done to the landscape, you know what I mean, with the creation of AEW, like, of course they get in. You know, CM Punk, like, of course he gets in. But none of these people are getting in this year. None of those people. Randy's not getting in. Edge isn't getting in. Punk isn't getting in. Roman's not getting in. But
the Bucks might.
They may. But
the Bucks might.
We'll see. He was talking on the radio, like basically like it's cooked for all them niggas. So I think he was very annoyed about it. He basically was like, go fuck you. He basically did like election interference. He was like, what are y'all doing? Like, what's going on here? So we'll see how that shakes out.
Ryan 1399 Canadian, appreciate you. Kenny's first appearance in Forever being in New Japan instead of his previous feud or to save AEW from Mox is a decision. Also, please don't have the Elite save AEW again. Let it be someone else. But I don't understand why so many people are getting so worried about Bucks being the savior of AEW. I don't think it'll be that all. I do think they'll come back as baby faces, but I've already said this on the Dynamite review and stuff. But I think they're coming back to get murdered. I don't think they're coming back to be like the pivotal, like, you know, that's when the tides turn, you know, and that's when the baby faces win when the Bucks come back. I don't think they're going to be the saviors. Darby will be like the main protagonist of all this. I think Kenny Omega will probably have a role to play in it, and I'd probably say like Private Party and my wild card I'd throw in there, but I'd personally like to see involved in kind of like the end game side of the baby faces would be Daniel Garcia. So
I'll tell you this, Monty. AEW has the ending of this planned out. They know exactly how they want it to end, beat for beat. What they don't have.
Have they decided on the time it's going to end then? Because the last time we spoke,
No.
it was like it's going into 2025,
No.
but they don't know how far.
No, they have not. They have not. So here's the deal. The whole middle section is an empty canvas, and there's like a trillion ideas floating out. And some of these ideas had to get run by through Mox. Some of them had to be approved by Tony Khan. As of right now, and here's another, I guess, like, you know, kayfabe this one, brother, but they're still figuring out what exactly they want to do with John Moxley at World's End this year. You know, there's a couple ideas floating around, and Tony has to kind of decide which one he likes the most. But there's some ideas floating around for World's End. And again, like I said, right now their priority creatively is to get some stars involved into this angle when we get deep as we get into next year. That's the idea. Is 2025. Let's get some stars involved. Who are going to be those stars, and how do we execute it? That's the idea, right? Yes, the Elite will get involved in the storyline, 100% stamped, locked in. The idea right now is for them to eventually get involved in the storyline. How they execute that, who faces John when, that's not figured out. And to your point, Monty, as of right now, they're not scheduled to be the men to topple John Moxley's crew. So I guess that's technically a spoiler. So I'm sorry if I ruined the story for some of you guys. But there you have it. This can go pretty well into the year, to be honest with you. It depends on how many of these ideas get approved, because there's a couple main event guys that are lined up to wrestle John Moxley next year. And then there's a couple other ones that have been pitched for the ideas. And again, it's up to Tony to say, I don't want him in that spot right now. We're doing this with that person. So there you have it with that. And there you go. I know this. MJF and Adam Cole, that program is going to go. This is a free scoop. That program is going to the end of this year. So, is he going to be someone that they throw in this? I don't know. I can't say. I'm just tossing out. He is a main event wrestler. He will be free next year. They're going to need main eventers to face John Moxley. Is that a direction they go? I don't know. But I can tell you that his thing with Cole should be going to the end of the year. So, we'll see what they do.
David Ortiz 199 says the Yankees lose.
Okay.
Ryan again 699 Canadian, appreciate you. Weird People said CJ was predictable. Crown Jewel, that's what I meant. Weird People said Crown Jewel was predictable. Multiple upsets in the betting. Most thought Gunther would win, thought Bianca would lose the tag belts, and Bronson would win. Yeah, there was actually a few upsets if you're going by like, the bookies odds, because there was.
here's the thing. Like, I expected Bianca and Jade to retain. I expected that. I didn't know who was going to win, Bronson Seth, but I thought it would just be more productive if Reed won, in my opinion. I feel like my actual issue with Crown Jewel was that it felt like Hunter like almost was apathetic towards doing anything noteworthy on Saudi soil, if that makes any sense. It felt like he was kind of like, it felt like he was hell bent on like not too much of his product changing while there and wanted to do it somewhere else because why don't you just give Bronson Reed the win over Seth Rollins? Their program is going to continue anyway. It's scheduled to continue. So if that's the case, let him beat Seth Rollins. But they did the whole thing where Seth gave him a curb stomp and then he gave him a second one on the steps or whatever, and then like a super curb stomp, and then Reed is bleeding and then he loses, but then he gets right back up and he's staring Seth down, and the story is like Seth didn't kill him. Okay, then just fucking let Reed just beat Seth, and you can do it. You can just reverse it where Seth is resilient and he's kind of like, I'm not dead yet. So that's that. Gunther, Cody. Here's another scoop, Monty. There were some pitches for ways to get out of this match, is what I'll say. Cody and Gunther. There were pitches basically on like, what if we had this guy do this or that guy do that or this or that? And you know who said fuck that, fuck you, and no? Cody Rhodes and Gunther. Their mentality was, we are wrestlers, we are athletes. Sometimes one guy beats another guy. It doesn't mean they're definitively better depending on how the finish is executed. And we don't want this match to be muddied with anything. If someone's going to lose this match, it's going to be completely clean. That was the stance of Cody Rhodes. That was the stance of Gunther. And they were adamant to Triple H. This match has to end clean. Because that's how we sold it. And we as athletes and as pro wrestlers lose credibility when we say things on the mic, on TV, if we sell it a certain way, and then we do hokey bullshit in the finish. And so everybody was on board. And then Hunter made the call and said, well, Cody's going to win this thing. And they came up with the finish that they came up with, where Cody basically does the Roddy Piper, Bret Hart finish from WrestleMania 8. And he gets him just in a quick wrestling maneuver, a quick counter. Because, Cody goes for the cutter. Gunther turns it into the sleeper. And then, Gunther reverses it into the pin. So, anyway, the point is, that's what they were adamant about. And it came off basically like, we don't know who the better man is. Cody got him on this night. That's all it was. Cody got him on this night. We don't know who's better. And that's how they wanted to sell it. And that's how they wanted to position it. And that's what they believe in. That's the pro wrestling that they believe in. And that's what happened.
Real grown adults, That's what they believe in. Lil DJ Boy asks $2. How long till Corbin starts to grift / Vince McMahon apologist?
Before the year is over.
Iggy $5, appreciate you. AEW TV feels slightly more focused announcing cards early. Did they pay attention to that criticism and trying to change it, or is it just a coincidence?
It was 100% a response to criticism, and it was also in an effort to see if that would affect ticket sales and advances, because they acknowledge that, hey, maybe part of the reason why some of these advances have been sagging is because these people aren't buying tickets to some shit they don't know what the fuck is going to be on the show. So it just makes sense. Like, yeah, right. Like, why aren't they buying tickets to Dynamite? Well, Tony, they don't know
what the fuck's on. They
don't know what the fuck's on Dynamite until Tuesday.
And they did something. Right. I remember. They did something. I remember reading about it in the newsletter. They did something like a month or two ago, bro, where they did a graphic for like one of the events, like it was like a collision taping or something. And nobody on the poster was at the event, bro. Yes. None of them.
That's
crazy.
You have to build consumer trust. And so they're definitely it is a response to criticism, but it's also like, this is literally going to serve us if we just fucking advertise these matches, because it'll help the tickets because people will know what they're paying for.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like not like in this like really super noticeable smack you in the face way, but their recent advances for TVs have been a bit better than they were like a few weeks prior to that.
Good. Black Yakuza $94 $5. Can he maybe sign to AEW, but New Japan is his home? You can tell how much it meant to him to be back in Japan. Saw the state and knew he had to save it.
New Japan is everything to Kenny Omega. He does not shy away, and I know this because he tells everybody this. So it's one of those things where it's like everyone can tell the tale about this. Kenny Omega doesn't hesitate to tell anyone that that's his favorite company of all time. And he still thinks it's the best promotion in the world. He still says this now. and he really believes in it. Everything he said in his promo this morning was a shoot, and this is happening the way it's happening because that's what he wants. And Tony is he has to strike the balance sometimes of like keeping his roster happy but doing well for business. And in this case, like, are they going to use Kenny prior to the Tokyo Dome match? They may not. I'm not really sure because again, the word is he's good to go. But all I do know is that he loves New Japan with like all his heart.
Little DJ Boy X $2. Perry TNT title run, Theory US title run, terrible.
Yeah, it's not good. I've liked some of these DG backstage bits, to be honest, but like overall as a run, like it hasn't really achieved anything, which is unfortunate.
Bro, that promo that he was about to start before Garcia interrupted him on the weekend was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
When he was like turned around,
when he's facing away from the camera. But I was watching it. I was with my girlfriend, and it's one of those moments where you're just like embarrassed. Like, what is this?
Bro, it's literally Raven, like because like they would do that with Raven, or they would just catch up to me. He's like in the corner of a room sitting. On
Raven could talk,
right? That's what I'm saying. It's like Raven cosplay.
He was believable. You know what I'm saying?
I literally just came across a promo where Raven was like under a bleacher, like a high school bleacher, reading a comic book. It was Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and the whole idea was basically like, you know, he was the geek in school. He was the outcast. He was sitting. This is where he would reside under these bleachers and da 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 da. And he related it to Dream or whatever the fuck. The point is, it's Raven cosplay, and it's not particularly good. So I don't have much additional to add. But DG is gonna win that belt at Full Gear, and we'll see what happens after that.
He's better than he was as a promo, Perry. He's becoming a heel and stuff, but sometimes I do feel like this the swings are a bit too big for his like actual level he's got to, you know. But whatever. Okay, Razor $4.99. Goat God Omega. All issues aside, Owens versus Punk is much better than Punk versus his little bro Rollins. Drew already referenced Punk's controversies.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna regret this if some dickhead makes this a headline, but like Punk's personal mentality is him and Drew reached an emotional high with their storyline and the blow off at Hell in a Cell, and he's very aware that like anything traversing very similar ground will come off inferior, basically. And so his mindset in like figuring out his creative for the next months is, how do I do something radically dissimilar to Drew Punk so that it doesn't immediately draw the comparison of Punk versus a guy he hates that hates him for backstage reasons, basically. So that's kind of where his mind goes. And that's why for him, it's like, let me do a sporting feud with like a Gunther type person. Let me do tags with like some of these guys and have fun, collision style. Rather than just jumping right into Seth and just, you know, doing the shooty work stuff. So that's kind of his mentality.
I seem to think like with CM Punk, it's like there is definitely like a balance of strike when you're talking about kind of like how people like you and I in our audience may like take to if he just goes into kind of this, I don't know, like this controversial backstagey kind of like feud with Seth Rollins. But at the same time, bro, the WWE audience just absolutely adore it anytime them two get in the same place together. You know, any sort of face to face, any sort of interactions, people really buy into it in the WWE audience. So it's we'll see. I hope they do go the route of him wrestling someone like a Gunther in between before diving into the Rollins feud. The Rollins feud doesn't do that much for me, other than the fact I know it will get super over and it'll be super heated and that sort of thing, you know.
What I can tell you is he is very adamant that like it just has to not feel like the Drew stuff. And that's one thing. And he's also adamant. Have you noticed, Monty, that this year TKO and like the branding strategy is to peel the curtain when it comes to documentaries and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
He's very much like, if you ever film me putting together a segment with someone, I'm gonna fucking show you. He like that's his energy. Like he's really serious about it because his whole thing is like, my whole thing is the seed of doubt that maybe Punk doesn't get along with this guy or that guy. The minute you break that down And like, for example, you just see him talking to Seth, like, yeah, and then you kind of you pepper out, and then I'll run through this, and then I'll hit the security guy, and then you do that, and Seth's like, all right, man, I got you, and then they just walk, like you show that like you fuck up the whole thing. Like, I know kayfabe is dead, but with him, like part of the appeal is like, man, like it's a little tense here, like I don't know what's gonna happen, so yeah, we'll see what happens with him. We'll see how it gets handled, but he is very creatively, I will not use the word picky because that has a negative connotation. But he's very much particular about how he wants his next few months to go creatively.
But yeah, Rosa, I agree. The Owens one's like probably the top of my list, to be honest. Like as a feud. So yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. Hush $2. So letting RVD work Evans and Wes, no more ref. Yeah, all these special guest referee stuff recently has been a bit crazy. I don't think any of them have actually been any good either. That's the worst thing,
They always, special guest referee matches have always sucked, and all the ones that WWE has done this year, like none of them have like clicked on any level. NXT's done like NXT does one like every 2 fucking weeks, and they had Dawn Marie as a guest referee for some reason for the Jada Parker and Lola Vice match. The match between my 2 wives, and so it's like you're doing that. Why do you need to have RVD as ref? Which is why I think I'm holding out hope that they have some sense. Trademark where there's an advertised match on the card, and before the match actually happens, you get the impromptu wait, we're gonna make this a 3-way dance. Dun 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 dun.
He won't. I don't think he'll even. I don't think WWE will even do that. And they're not cool enough, bro.
They're not cool. No, he's gonna come out, Monty, in the ECW arena, and you're gonna hear "One of a Kind." One of a kind. And it's like, all right, dude. Okay, cool. And then he's gonna wear the fucking striped shirts and when I see and I look in your eyes, and he's gonna fucking count to 3. He might do a frog splash or some shit at the end. But again, like I said, ideally, make it a 3-way dance. I'll tell you this. I'll declare this preemptively. If the lights go out at any point in the show and NXT gives my boy Sabu a paycheck, I will leave NXT alone for the rest of the year. Just give my boy Sabu a paycheck. Yes, I will leave.
It's not happening, but that's
not happening. Another one. NXT. I want anyone listening to know this. I don't want Sandman on the show unless you got the rights to Metallica. If you're not playing under Sandman,
they're not going to book Sandman either, bro. They really think they did something with like Bubba, like Bubba and Francine, that's what you get in.
Francine is a surprising one because WWE has their like WWE accepted ECW alumni that they touch, and then there's like a certain section of ECW's roster that they never touch, and like Francine isn't controversial, but they just usually don't fuck with her, so that was a pretty surprising one. I'm happy she's getting a paycheck. She's probably just gonna be ringside and smile and like throw the thumbs up, but yeah.
Gonna speed run a few super.
Yeah, let's get through these.
Get to our little weekend recap. Wheelchairs and $5. That women's 10 women tag needs to be the main event, or Wesley versus Javon and maybe RVD. I think it'll be the 3-way dance.
We'll see. I'll tell you this. There is, as gross as it is to say, this NXT ECW arena show could be fucking awesome, but it depends on how it's executed and how it's ordered and what matches get time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and there's things that it could that Bubba match could be terrible, bro.
Yeah, it could be dog shit, man.
Hush $5, appreciate it. Don't want to spoil the winner of the Royale, but I'm scared Liv is going to give him the worst match to date, especially with the Raquel business. Nasty.
Without spoiling the result, I'll tell you. Here's the thing about the Liv matches: is sometimes they start out all right, sometimes they don't. The problem is the finishing sequences are now like consistently terrible because it's not like the good kind of interference. It's like Dom, then Raquel, and Raquel never like executes her fucking interference spot well. She's always like bumbling all over the place like she's fucking Tongaloa, trying to fucking pull a ref out or do some shit. And then like the babyface is like, "What's happening, person on the outside? I am completely distracted for 10 seconds." And then like Liv does a really shitty ass fucking oblivion. That move sucks, by the way. And she'll do the oblivion and it's like, and then it's over, and then Dom walks in. Like it just sucks. So to that person's super chat, the winner of the battle royal is probably going to have a good match with Liv until that finishing stretch. Where if those people do interfere, it's going to suck.
Anjan PN $2, appreciate you always. 2025 rest of the year conversation is over. Hashtag Demon Home. Hashtag Game I Love is back.
I'm gonna say this about Kenny Omega, Monty. If we get a Kenny Omega that like technically isn't quite as fast or as explosive as Ospreay, but like he still has his old tricks, I'm so gonna be that guy, that fucking like glasses up guy of like, there's just a pace and a mastery of his skill set and his match building, and he's just more refined, more rich with his. I'll be that fucking guy talking about Kenny matches as he fucking like works his way to the 1V trigger and shit.
I think he's gonna look good though, man. He looked good before. He looked good before he had to step away with diverticulitis, and the diverticulitis isn't a thing like his knees being blown or something like that.
You know why I'm not worried about Kenny Omega, everybody? Because we've seen what he wrestles like when he's beat up, and he's still fucking tremendous. Like, he's not a guy whose performances suffer dramatically when he's beat up. We've seen what he looks like when everything in his body hurts. So he's going to be great.
Amari 316 $5. How would y'all feel if The Rock kicked out Solo Sikoa from the new Bloodline and anointed Jacob Fatu as the new tribal chief in the Bloodline? It'd be very funny. It'd be very, very funny.
Pointed. I mean, that'd be awesome. You know? So it could just be.
But I think from a storytelling point of view, I think it would actually be quite dumb, to be honest. There's other ways you can like prioritize Jacob Fatu on that side of the bloodline without like just fucking kicking Solo to the side. Although, like I said, that would be very, very funny.
Jacob's new thing of just like randomly shouting, "I love you, Solo," pops me.
He gets over.
Yes.
Black Yakuza $94 $5. Just a thought, but if Rock was locked in for Mania, wouldn't he be on the poster? It might be touch and go at the moment. I don't even think Dwayne knows.
The Rock will be at WrestleMania. Next super chat. Razor €9.99. I believe Euro.
I hate when you do that, bro. Give me a heads up if you can just start reading them on me.
Sorry. It's clear Netflix sees Punk, Roman, and Cody as the big three. Correct. What about Triple H? I'm sure he sees them as top guys too. What about Rhea Face Run? I can't. Is that what that emoji is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, scoops on Punk. We already just talked about Punk extensively, so that was the answer to that question. How much say does he have in his booking? A lot. Percentage of him saying free
Palestine.
Oh, free Palestine on TV. I could see him doing some kind of gesture the way Sami Zayn has done numerous ones. Proud of him and Sami. I'm also very proud of Sami Zayn, who has been speaking his mind about numerous things, including Monty. Last week, I don't know if you caught this, in his backstage segment with Jey Uso and who was it? It was Jey Uso and Jimmy. He basically gave, in an allegorical way, his opinion on the election. So, listen, man, that's him using his right to his voice, and I respect Sami Zayn quite a bit. And he wore the kufiya at Crown Jewel, and shout out to him.
Yeah, we love Sami Zayn, man.
Yes, we do.
Anjan PN, $2. My goat said, Shinihan, good dub sucks. Hashtag beast IMO. You're locked in, Anjan.
Yo, Kenny basically was like, this is the real shit over here in New Japan. He was saying like, I still believe this is the best wrestling in the world. I was like, oh shit. Okay, Kenny.
Hush $5. I love the Usos, but Jay has outgrown it and the Bloodline. Hope it's a one-off. Also, even with Sami, I don't know. Something feels a bit off. Maybe it's just me.
We gotta see. I may be right with you. Here's the thing about like Bloodline shit. Like, even if I was never super on board with like their style of storytelling, in their way, the Bloodline matches last year did hit. Like, for example, last year's tag when it was Kevin and Sami versus Roman and Solo, even though some people aren't into the slow build layout, that match was still great. And it was when it was time to be great in that match, the bombs landed, you know. And the same thing with the Bloodline Civil War. These last couple Bloodline tags are very pedestrian.
Yeah, I don't think he can say Jay's outgrown Bloodline. It's like, you know, it's the thing with the way of Bloodline's storytelling as well. Is like the way they've done this storyline on TV over the past 4 years has like absolutely highlighted the strengths of Jey Uso. You know, so yeah, it was cool to see him go off and do his singles thing for a bit. But I do think, even now that he's back in the story, this 3 weeks is the best he's been in however long, you know.
Yeah.
He just brings out, I don't know, bro. He locks in differently, you know. Go Birds XTL 4.99. Appreciate it. Rhea bleeding was super cool. They need to let the women #run the blade.
I agree. I have no interest in a women's war games match this year unless like Io bleeds or some shit. Like I need a godly visual of one of the women just rocking a gusher. Like that's what I need. I'll read this one. Velocifactor 199. Ibu, stay away from Big Czar, you greedy gooner. Who's Czar?
Jesus.
Oh, Zarya. I don't know. I have no clue what you're referring to, sir. I have no clue what he's referring to.
I do. But anyway, mid takes 4.99. So is the Tanner and Kenny versus the Bucks match happening? I think it might.
I think it'll happen. I don't know when exactly it's gonna happen. Is Kenny's match with Gabe Kidd for Wrestle Dynasty or is it for Wrestle Kingdom?
Dynasty.
It's for Dynasty.
It's not official yet, but Dynasty is the word.
Because that could just be the January 4th match, and then they could just do the tag the next night. But it depends on, again, if Gabriel Kidd and Kenny is going to be Dynasty, then yeah, then you'd have to push this back. But then again, they could just do this on New Year's Dash, for example. They could do it on New Year's Dash. You could do it on New Beginning, the New Beginning.
New Year's Dash last year, they did not this year. They did Kenny and Okada, didn't they? Yeah.
That was
Kenny Okada tagged together. That was really cool. That was a surprise,
2023 New Year's Dash. Yeah.
Okay, so it was last year though.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. Like they could do it on New Year's Dash. They could do it in the New Beginning tour. So I think there's multiple options. Bryan Danielson this year did a bunch of tags early in the year, you know, shortly after the Tokyo Dome show. Not a bunch, but he did a tag to build the ZSJ match.
SMG $5. Do we have legitimate concern that they are actually continuing Rhea Live all the way to Mania, or is the EO Rumble dream still alive? You kind of already touched on this.
Yeah, things have to be moved around. I don't want to say who was the Plan Rumble winner because then Twitter's gonna crash out.
Yeah, fuck that. Don't do that.
Twitter's gonna.
I don't even want you to tell me that.
Yeah.
actually, that's a lie. You can tell me after the show, but
I'll say this: if I told y'all what the original plan was for the Rumble, like the whole app right now would just crash out.
Yeah, so it's moving on. Dame 1999. Appreciate you very much, brother. EO should chase, win the Rumble because I need it, and face Rhea at Mania, winning the title there instead of winning the title from Liv. Ibu, is WWE aware of fans online wanting EO to win the Rumble? EO should run the blade.
Dame, thank you so much for your very generous donation. We touched on all these things already, but WWE is very aware of how popular EO is. They're also very aware of how good she is. I just don't want to accidentally spoil people. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to spoil people, but listen, you can expect EO Sky folks to be in this mix for a little bit. And EO versus Rhea is a big match that will happen somewhere.
Good job, Marcus. 199. Member of the fam. Appreciate you. I love Tyson Smith. That is all.
Me too.
Hush 499. Appreciate it. Could you all see Montez leaving? Do you think now that his opinions are out there, Hunter will finally try him as a solo act? Yeah. I think there's a chance he does leave. I'm not sure how big of a chance, but I don't think it's not like it's far from impossible. Like.
All right, let's do the Montez thing. So he's been frustrated all year. He's been really just kind of like unhappy with how this year has played out. And when Bobby left, he saw it as a thing that he didn't have the guts to do, but he totally understood why Bobby did it. If that makes any sense. It was like, damn, he actually like left like and was kind of like, man, I get it and I respect it. He's had numerous conversations with WWE about like what they see him as and what they want out of the Street Profits. The reason he went to the media this week, Monty, like I'm not saying this is the only reason, but when wrestlers do what he did this week, it's him publicly communicating the message to the office, because there was a perception internally that we would give Montez a singles push, but then we'd have to break up the profits, and he doesn't want to do that. And there's been times where he was trepidatious about that because he's worried about, like, just to be like real here, like there's almost that feeling of like, what are they going to do to Dawkins if I split from him, right? But he made it very clear this week. Nah, listen, if that has to be what it's going to be, if you guys are to break me up in Dawkins, do it. And he made it very clear. So we see what happens from this. And could he leave WWE? He could 100% leave WWE. Do I think it'll happen? His personal preference, I can tell you this, his ideal personal preference is to stay in WWE, but like essentially like finally progress with his career. And if there's no sign of that happening, he will very much take his ball and go home.
Don't know, 499. I love that the BCC and the Aussie Open storyline span both Dynamite and Collision. Collision finally doesn't feel isolated anymore. Shout out, Commander. Yeah, I agree, bro.
Yeah, the Moxley stuff helped connected it. Hush 199. Is Punk Gunther still on for Survivor Series? Please say yes. I don't know. Johnny Burney 199. Ricochet first black wrestler to headline the Dome. Hey man, I'm very happy for him. I'm very happy for him. He wanted to move up to heavyweight before he left New Japan. Monty
Sap main event at the Dome, didn't it?
Bob Sapp. I'm like almost completely certain of it. But Bob Sapp, is he a wrestler? You know what I mean?
He was
he had wrestling matches.
Big money draw. What are we talking about? He was shit. You know.
No, I'm saying like even when he went into the world of wrestling, like it was like Bob Sapp, the MMA fighter, versus a New Japan guy, you know. So like I don't know if you want to do the semantic game, have the semantic game.
It's not semantics, man. He headlined a wrestling show. Bob Sapp, he's a Mr. Pride legend. You know,
I love him so much. The liberals gonna have to cry. Bob Sapp was the fucking man. I'll say this though. Listen, genuinely, Ricochet was not allowed to move past junior heavyweight, and he left New Japan. And so him being back now and getting the reaction, like the from the crowd, and getting the face of the SJ is really fucking cool. And I hope it transforms him spiritually. What I mean by that is he's having really cool matches in AEW, but he's not carrying himself like a fucking star. He's very much like happy to just be like a guy, in my opinion. And
also, just to quickly add to your point, he's not exactly. I don't think he's approaching his matches like someone who's been unleashed. You know,
right. Yeah, and
like, he's not going nuts in these matches. Like we know we probably could.
He's just checking into the game and hitting some spot up threes and being slapping hands and high five. And it's like, all right, cool. It's like, nah, bro, like take the bull by the horns, Ricochet. You know, this is your chance, and I know you can do it. And so the wrestling isn't my issue. I just want him to like exude like I'm somebody. I'm not just I'm a guy having a match on Collision. You know, and so I hope being in the Tokyo Dome with Zack Sabre Jr. in a spotlighted main event match wakes that side up out of him. So I'm really happy for him. I'm really excited for him. I'll read this one next too. Victor Gonzalez 999. Any clue or ideas on the participants for this year's Continental Classic, Ibu? A number of names have been floating around. I think you can expect Jay White and Hangman Page to be in it. I think you can 100% expect Mark Briscoe to be in it. Beyond that, I would get shot by AEW. I'll read this one. Will Chisholm $5. Jada Parker needs to come out dressed like New Jack. That'd be really cool. It popped me this last week on her promo. She said something that was a shoot, and I'm glad they didn't make it up. She was just like, she basically like, I don't know who Dawn Marie is. And I'm so glad that they just had her admit that, because I thought they're going to do some fucking fake NXT kayfabe bullshit where she's going to say like
starstruck. She's a legend.
No, just doing the whole like, I grew up watching ECW. Like, no, you fucking didn't, Jada Parker. No, you didn't. Anyway, Theo, $2. Town with terrible live rain. Save us. Spoiler. I agree. Save us. Spoiler.
Corey David, $2. Thoughts on Lash and Jakara and NXT's 10-woman tag?
I'm happy they're getting this opportunity. I think Lash Legend's a great personality and she's improving. And the 10-woman tag is a killer matchup. It's the type of thing I want to see. All stars. The babyface team is a total flex. Jordan Grace, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Delta. Like it's a great team. And I'll watch the match. So yeah.
Ryzer 999, appreciate it as always. Reading Brett's book is fun. Mania is in Vegas, city of the pipe bomb. If he ain't injured or sick again, do you think Triple H books Punk over Joker? Punk and friends tag. Who are his tag partners?
I don't know. Punk, I know that like guys that he's chomping at the bit to work with are Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton, but none of those make any storyline sense to tag with him anytime soon. You know. But
Punk with the LWO.
Yeah, right. Like, you know what I mean? But
Dragon Lee, Ray, Punk.
Can you imagine him doing what he did in that Sting tag where they all walk out with masks or some shit? Like, but that's the thing. In his mind, right? It's like, I'm not gonna reach the emotional highs of the Drew thing. So what if I just come back and just do and like pop myself with like Rey Mysterio, for example? Like that's kind of like the mentality for like December. You know, it's Christmas time. You pop the kitties. You do the MSG house show. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens. Nostradamus 199. What's going on with Punk and the company? Nothing's going on.
Didn't want to work Saudi, bro. Work the cage match. You know,
he's nothing's going on. MASP. 499. Instead of the profit splitting, I'd rather have them add a third person to tag with Dawkins while Montez is solo and maybe apologize. I don't hate that idea at all. I don't hate it.
Don't either, you know.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea.
I really don't hate that idea.
It sounds productive. It sounds very productive.
It does. It does.
They did that.
Ibu. Someone quote Ibu should pass that idea along.
Yeah, I'll actually do that legitimately. And that's what Chad Gable did, Monty. He was with Otis. They added Tozawa to let him do singles matches.
Mm-hmm. Match for 94, 199. Last super chat for now. What's the nastiest Derby bump in AEW?
Maybe when they put him in a bag and he got like power bombed on like the ramp in like the pandemic.
The Christian Cage when he throws him onto the corner of the steps from the apron. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
That one's quite nasty. Obviously the one in the Sting retirement match where he goes through the shattered glass off the top of that ladder from inside the ring is like an insane bump as well. There's so many, bro. There's so many. Like it's pointless trying to rattle them off, you know. All right, Ibu, what do you want to start with?
All right, let's
over an hour in, but you know what I mean.
Let's do Crown Jewel. Here's the thing about Crown Jewel. There were some matches I thought were like good on here. Like I like the women's tag, I like the 3-way, and I thought the main event was great. But by and large, it was very just like it felt inessential in my opinion. Like it felt like a show where if you missed it and someone is a WWE fan, like, oh man, like do I need to watch Crown Jewel? I would literally tell them like watch the post match of the opener with Sami Zayn, watch the Kevin Owens Randy Orton angle, which is very cool, and then watch the main event if you want a good match. But like very like by and large, like if nothing else, there's been WWE shows that I enjoyed the wrestling less than this one, but those shows still felt like important and like things were happening to further storylines. I felt like very little was furthered this on this show. And to speak broadly, because I'm not going to go like meticulously match by match. The second best match on the show, in my opinion, was the 3-way, which was Andrade, LA Knight, and Carmelo Hayes. Andrade is just a spectacular wrestler, right? But creatively, it just felt like, man, what was the point of any of this shit? Because if you do a best of 7 with Andrade and Carmelo, and then the no contest in match 7 to lead to a 3-way, and then in that 3-way, neither guy wins the belt, what the fuck was the point of any of this? You know, so like if Knight like goes to just do some other shit, you just made these guys look like total jackasses. So like to me, when the no contest happened in game 7, it was like, before I bash this, I got to see who wins the 3-way, because if Melo or Andrade win the 3-way, that's the unofficial winner of the 7 series, in my opinion. But the way they booked it now, it's like Andrade and Melo don't win this US belt, and Knight walks away with it. But wrestling wise, I thought that was the second best match of the show. I thought the opener was like a total house show match where like the only guy that worked hard was Jacob Fatu, because he's Jacob Fatu. I like the women's tag. Bronson Reed.
The opener with Roman forgetting to kick out was quite funny. You know,
he's a beast. It's funny. People thought Roman opening the show meant he lost a political battle to Gunther. No, what it was Roman didn't want to be there and wanted to catch the quickest and easiest flight out of Saudi Arabia the second his match was done. I think he took 2 bumps in the whole match. He tagged in, he did some Superman punches, he did the ooh-wah, did a spear, you know, he ate some Samoan spikes, and he got the fuck home. He literally did not stay for the remainder of the show. He went home. So Roman Reigns got out of there. He got out of there before Jey Uso and it did. So he got the fuck out of Dodge. And the match was like just a total nothing match. In the post-match, Sami Zayn comes back. This was really well done. They teased that he was kind of in cahoots with Solo Sikoa on Raw. And so now Solo extends his hug out to Sami Zayn. And Sami hugs him and turns it into an exploder suplex. And ultimately, this ends with Solo surrounded by the Usos, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn. So that's your Bloodline development. Sami is officially now in the storyline, which we could expect. And it's pretty clear what the War Games teams are going to be. It's going to be the Guerrillas of Destiny, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn. Hopefully that match, they work harder than they did
I
here.
want Dwayne, man.
I think, genuinely, whether he's in a match or not, I think he appears at Survivor Series.
Yeah, sorry, I need a final battle, and he needs to say something this time too. You know, none of this 1, 2, 3 bollocks.
You know, you gotta be like,
I was forgiving of that because I thought he was going to show up like a week later or something and do, I don't know, or a Twitter promo. You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine grab a mic and vaguely just saying, you don't even know to who, he just goes, "You're fired," and you're like, "Who?" And he like walks away. And you're like, "What? Oh shit!" Do you have any opinions on this opening match, Monty? I thought it was just kind of there, like, you know.
Nah, nothing differing from what you said. To be honest, it was just like whatever, you know, just going through the motions. Solo got the pin. We already kind of touched on it earlier. I don't really think that was probably the most effective decision they could have gone with. I would have gone with Fatu getting the pin, but
I thought the
put
women's
Roman down anyway. Like, so.
Yeah. I thought the women's tag match was fun. It was basically just kind of like a get your shit in. Everybody kind of just does stuff. Some of it was like obviously like not, you know, the crispest or whatever, but the bottom line was they wanted to highlight Lash Legend as like this kind of powerhouse equal to Jade Cargill, and pretty much position Io Sky as like the best wrestler in the women's division, which was already the fact anyway
In the world.
in there, right? So Io's great. Lash is dope. Chelsea Green does her Chelsea Green shtick. Piper Niven remains an underrated Haas worker in the women's division, and I thought this was totally fine fun. In match number 3, we got Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. We had some conversations before the show about this match, and the result basically was inconclusive. I thought this match was not bad.
It wasn't. Not for me.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I thought this match was not bad, but it was not good enough to like feel strongly about like people's positions. What I mean by that is I needed Reed to be great here, and he wasn't great, nor was he bad. He was just fine. And this match wasn't great or bad. It was just fine. And fine doesn't do shit for anything. You know, when you're trying to achieve things or take things a certain place, fine doesn't cut it. You know what I mean? Give me an answer.
It would have kind of got away with it if Reed went over.
Sure, exactly. But like Reed losing in a fine match, it's just kind of like, what was achieved? You know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna say he's dead, but it just didn't achieve.
No, he's not. No, I just meant the match was dead. Like, it was just pointless. What are we doing?
It was just okay. It was okay. And that's kind of all there is to it. Do you have anything to add about Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins, Monty?
Well, like you said, it will. You know, you needed to have it would have been really productive if he won a good match here and he lost a match that was just there. You know. Obviously, this was a big spot for Bronson Reed, bro. It's his, what is it? Is it his first PLE match in however long? Or, you know, even if it's not, it's like one of his highest featured ones. He's wrestling Seth Rollins, bro. Like, this is like the biggest, highest profile guy that he's feuded with and done like an actually extended thing with, you know. And Doc said it was a big opportunity for him and Seth to kind of go out there and, you know, I guess kind of.
Did you see what Angelo Dawkins tweeted?
What did he tweet?
He just tweeted, "Tired of the disrespect."
Yo, maybe it's sports related.
What's happening? Yo?
Maybe he's talking about Real Madrid. You know? But yeah, my point is that as he already knows, I don't think very much of Bronson Reed as a talent. I do think he's been booked very well in recent months. All the stuff with Braun Strowman, really hot angles and all that stuff was really cool. They brought the ring, blah, blah, blah. Then the angle to start this Seth stuff with all like the 10 tsunamis that he hit. That was awesome. Like I said, his booking has been very well for like a big destructive heel, you know. But as a talent, when I watch his matches or anything, I don't really see anything particularly worth pushing, to be honest. And again, when you get given the opportunity to wrestle someone like Seth Rollins on pay-per-view and you have a match that's barely above average, I think that's quite, I don't know, man. Obviously, they'll do an angle tonight in the 4-way with Seth and the feud will continue and he'll probably get that win over Seth, and I guess we'll kind of reevaluate it then. But as of right now, I'm not really seeing a lot there, as you already know, Uber.
Right.
Was the next match the Randy KO thing?
No, it was unfortunately Liv Morgan and Nia Jax.
Okay.
I thought the pre-shenanigans portion of this was a little bit better than expected because he kind of just like went for it. But it descended into total garbage when it just became Nia Jax, Nia and Tiffany and Dominic, and it was a total mess, and it wasn't even executed well, and it just fucking sucked. And Cash and Teasin suck. Like, bro, like I'm so done.
Those teases are getting worse, bro.
I'm
getting
so
worse.
You don't even believe them. You're like, you're not gonna fucking cash in. Like, just kill yourself. So I hate the Tiffany Nia act. I think it stinks. I thought the finish of this match sucked, and I thought it ruined what was work wise pretty decent. So if you have anything to add there, speak now or forever hold your peace. I will then go to the next match.
I actually agree with you. I thought when they were actually wrestling, it was pretty decent, and then it descended into garbage. So yeah,
absolutely.
What was nice to see. I will say though, it was nice to see Liv genuinely look like she cared about winning the battle. To be fair,
right? Yeah, she was really into that, winning the Saudi belt. So good for her. What wasn't garbage was Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. If the bell rang, this would have been like the second best match in the show. But it never did ring. It went to a no contest. They beat each other up. The referees got involved. Security got involved. A bunch of producers got RKOs and Sunners. Nick Aldis,
Jamie Noble went down.
Jamie Noble took a bump. My boy Adam Pierce, Scrap Daddy AP, caught an RKO for his troubles. They weren't going to try that with Big Nick Aldis. They went to the outside. They brought to the crowd, and then
know better.
Yeah, and then Randy Orton caught a fucking elbow drop off a balcony from Kevin Owens, which is awesome. These guys rock. Randy Orton doing that weird selling where it's like, is he fucked or is he selling? And you can't really tell because Randy's at that stage of his life. But I thought this was a fun angle.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then after that, the three-way, which I just spoke about, I thought work-wise it was really, really fun and dynamic, and it's why we advocate for these guys making these pay-per-views. Because man, if this is a 5-match card and it didn't have Andrade coming in there, because at this point in the show, like I wanted some good fucking wrestling. You know what I mean? And Andrade coming in there and just being a good wrestler, it does help. Before he gets to the main event.
Funnily enough, yeah,
you know what I mean. And that's why, like, when these people do the whole bullshit, like, it's to keep the pay-per-view short. It's to like make the TVs. But shut the fuck up. You can have a shorter pay-per-view at 7 matches. This pay-per-view was 3 hours, Monty, at 7 matches. These fucking stupid shill dipshits who are like, oh, bro, it was 5 matches because you want to keep it short. Bro, we've seen them do 5-match cards at like 3 hours, which is ridiculous. And they fit 7 on this show in 3 hours. So it's clearly fucking doable. So shut the fuck up and stop being a shill. Anyway. Good match. The result was pointless in my opinion. Andrade forever. I love him. That is El Idolo. He is a real Latino man. God bless him.
Absolutely.
And I said what I had to say about Cody Gunther already. So if you had anything you wanted to add to it, I just thought it was lovely.
Yeah, that was literally you took the word right on off. I thought it was just lovely. You sit back and you just kind of you get comfortable and you just watch these 2 real wrestlers, 2 real heavyweight champions, just kind of going at it. I thought it escalated really well. The way it went through the gears, and I very much agree with you, what you said earlier. If they wanted to go another 10-15 minutes, I would have been right there for it. I actually did quite like the finish, to be fair. In terms of like all the political context surrounding this, of who wins, who should win, who shouldn't win. If they wanted to do the clean finish, I kind of like the way that they went about it, because if you're gonna do like the messy finish, you would have Gunther beat Cody due to like KO interference or some shit, wouldn't you? But at the same time, you're not just gonna have Gunther just straight up pin Cody, So it's like, what do you do then? So I think the way that they kind of got out of that was pretty well done, to be honest. Just a really well wrestled main event that I'd happily see again, and I think they've got other levels to take it to as well. To be honest, it was one of my favorite Cody matches this year. One of my favorite WWE matches this year, to be honest with you.
I think it's in like the middle of my top 10 pay-per-view matches that they've done. I would say.
Yeah, I'd probably be with you. Probably maybe a little bit high. It might be like top 4, 3. I don't know. I really enjoyed it though, because it was just it was just a proper wrestling match, people. You don't get many. I know it sounds dumb, but you don't get many of them anymore. So
natural wrestling.
Seeing Cody and Gunther just channel that and I also thought it was kind of interesting in the sense that like Gunther's matches, this might be a controversial take, I don't know. But I think Gunther's, his bread and butter, obviously everyone knows, is being like kind of like the dominant heel, you know? And his matches when he wrestles somebody that he can just kind of beat the shit out of and build to like comebacks and hope spots are usually like phenomenal. I think most of his best matches follow that kind of formula, you know? But when he's gone against like other like bigger guys or like really like strong guys, like the Drew match, for example, I was kind of interested how that was going to play out on pay-per-view. And it wasn't all that. It wasn't a bad match or anything. It just never kind of like clicked the way I think a lot of us wanted it to. With this one, obviously, Cody and Gunther, they had like a nice back and forth. And like I said, it escalated really well. And it went through the gears really nicely. And it worked, you know. I always find it interesting when someone isn't just selling all match for Gunther, you know, because that's obviously the easiest way to do the match. And again, I thought they navigated through the match really, really well. And yeah, good bit of business as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of good bit of business, Power Struggle had a bunch of them. Power Struggle emanated from the Edion Arena. We're back, brothers. Edion Arena in Osaka, Japan. And this show fucking ruled. We opened with a match that like I would have normally skipped, but it was quite fun. So they had the Bullet Club. It was Clark Connors, Driller Maloney, Gabe Kidd, Robbie X, who joined like a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago at this point, and Taiji Ishimori. And they faced Kevin Knight and Kushida. They faced the Velocities, who were a team that frequented Rev Pro, Monty. And I never really looked at them or focused on them much in Rev Pro, but I got to look at them here. They were in the tag league. And like most Gaijin young teams, Monty, or Gaijin acts that start their tour in Japan, they look like they fucking are scared shitless at the beginning. They live there on a fucking poop themselves. And like they're just terrified. And by the end of the tour, they kind of get things going. It happened with Dan Maloney in 2023. But it was those guys and Katsuya Murashima, Monty, who's a young lion. The reason I'm spotlighting this is for two things, Monty. I found out something today that popped the shit out of me. The young lion in this match, Murashima, he's a big boy. He's a big burly boy, but he's very agile. But he has that kind of like Kobashi build, and he had a lot of fire, right? And I'm getting into this kid. I'm like, I like this kid. You know, it's that physique. It's that like old school Puro physique. You know what someone told me, Monty? Someone told me today on Twitter that he wants to be the next Jushin Liger. Not next figuratively. He means literally like Liger number 2. Or he said he wants to be Liger or Tiger Mask. And I stood up and I was like, let's fucking go. You know how the phrase we're losing recipes? We're regaining recipes. New Japan, that was the tradition, Monty. You pass down Tiger Mask.
Yeah.
4. You know what I mean? And you have Tiger Mask have a fucking villain, Black Tiger. Black Tiger used to be Raka, and then it was Eddie Guerrero. You know, we these are the recipes. And so this young man wanting to be either a Tiger Mask or a Liger or maybe some type of spin on Liger, very exciting. I'm locked in. That's what the junior division needs. And he's also this big burly fucker in the junior division. That sounds awesome to me. But that was a fun little opening match. Skipping ahead here, looking at this card, let's see here where it was.
Did you watch I only watched the last 4, if anyone's wondering, but did you watch Umino versus Sonata? I
did. And he's back on steroids.
That's as long as he's doing it healthfully, you know. Wink, wink. I'm very happy to hear that. You know,
Chris does not endorse unhealthy steroid usage, but he remains a character now. That look, for those that don't know, Shota's been getting booed lately, and New Japan has started to kind of use their advantage.
Straight up rejected.
Here's what's a piece about Gato. When a guy he likes that's young getting pushed gets booed, he doesn't panic. He goes, "Oh, I've been here before. Don't worry, guys. I know what to do, you know." Because listen, the Stardust genius Tetsuya Naito was booed. You know what I mean? Like they've dealt with guys getting booed or not clicking. Jay White was getting pushed early on as the Switchblade didn't click at all, and Gato was like, "I got this," and it made it work in about a year. So he's getting into that mode with Shota, and that's going to help him. I thought the match was just fine with him and Sonata. Like honestly, pretty solid. But the bottom line is these fans in Osaka hate him, and so. Again, they've made that a storyline. Elsewhere on the show, Great O'Khan and Hanare face TMDK, Mikey Nichols, and Shane Hayes. I think Shane Hayes sucks now, but Mikey Nichols is willing to give himself CTE to earn 3.5 stars. And God bless him.
Streets remember that G1 run, brother.
Right, and he did it here. He was like, I'm going to take stupid bumps to make sure this is a 3.5 star match, and that's what it was. O'Khan and Hanare are a fine heavyweight team, and these guys just kind of were just clanging and banging. So I thought this was good in spite of Shane Haste being a pretty bad wrestler these days. Worst match on the card was obviously the House of Torture match with Evil and Ren Narita. They defeated Yoshi. Sorry, I'm looking at it right now. What's going on? Why is this thing listed incorrectly? Oh no, but yeah, right, yeah. But so they won their match. That wasn't good at all. What was awesome though, Monty, what was fucking awesome was the Super Junior Tag League 2024 final. This was, yes, Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles, who are going by the Ichiban Sweet Boys for some reason, taking on Catch 22, Francisco Akira and TJP. Kosei Fujita, Monty, did the smartest thing, or New Japan did the smartest thing ever with him, which was not send him to the UK for excursion. Kosei Fujita was he was a very, very, very promising junior, and they said, well, fuck that, we're going to just graduate you and you're going to stay right here. And they did, and he joined TMDK, and now he's an awesome junior wrestler. And he's been tagging with Robbie Eagles throughout this tournament, and they've been excellent throughout this entire tournament. And they had a match to Francisco Akira and TJP, and I'm watching this and I'm vibing with it. I'm fine with it, but they just are insisting on this match being more than just a cool little thing. It's they're just insisting and they're chipping away at it. And it's just that very exuberant, we want this to be great approach. And by the end of it, it was great. Some really fun near falls. Unfortunately, TJP is a very good wrestler. But the bottom line is Catch 22 is great. And so are these guys from TMDK. And I thought this was excellent. What did you think of this match, Monty?
Yeah, I thought it was really great, to be honest. I think the packed in quite a lot because I think out of the last 4 matches, this was the shortest. And it was just I thought they packed a lot in. They went 15 minutes. All the other matches after this went well over 20. So like I said already, really spirited. You've already said it. TJP is very good. TJP is very good. Robbie Eagles, Vegeta, Akira, they're all strong juniors, man. And they you could tell they were really going for this, and it lived up to being a tournament final, which it was. And the Ichiban Sweet Boys win the Super Junior Tag League 2024. So
they do. And then in the post match, they shake the hands of Catch 22, and you're like, all right. And then the champions come out, which are the Intergalactic Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. And I got to say, it's nice that Kushida in this second New Japan return run, because he's had 2 now. He had 1 and they treated him like shit, and he did some TNA, and then he came back again, and that's what this is. Now they're pushing him, which is really nice because he's still a good wrestler. They come out, and they're basically cutting their promo on the guys, and you're like, are we doing a 3-way here? And then the War Dogs, the Junior War Dogs come out, which is Dan Maloney and Clark Connors, Driller Maloney. And I'm like, why are we doing a 4-way? But it looks like they're doing a 4-way. So, okay, I guess that for me, and not to do the whole multi-man tags bad, it turns this from 2, because the top junior tag team, all those teams that are involved in this mix, Monty, are very good. Any 2 of them can have an excellent match, I think, at Wrestle Kingdom. You put 4 in, and it turns into that Wrestle Kingdom undercard match that goes 10 minutes, and they just kind of get their shit in, which is fine. I guess there's just not the space in the card to kind of go expansive. But it just really pigeonholes it, I think. So this is going to probably be match 1 or 2 on the card, and they're just going to get their shit in 10 minutes. It's kind of like what they've done for many Wrestle Kingdoms now. So that appears to be the direction there, which is, I don't know, a little bit disappointing personally. After this, we did Doki and Master Wato. Now, people insist and swear, Monty, that Doki has been having a good junior title run. I haven't seen much of it, and I've never been the biggest Doki fan, but I was a fan of this match. Master Wato is someone that I've always, not always, but I do like him, and I've liked him. I thought he was really getting good right before he got hurt, and he's back here, and this is kind of his big, serious, singles match upon return. And Doki is a good, he's kind of understated in his approach. He's not bombastic or explosive, but he's a good technician, and the way he structures and builds his matches are good. And so what I can say about this one is it got very dramatic by the end and was a good match. I didn't think this was blow away or anything, but I did think this was a really nice junior match. Doki retains. He's facing Despy at Wrestle Dream. So Despy's chokehold on the junior title will return. He's gonna win this thing again, and good for him, I guess. I'd like to see Despy as a heavyweight, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Did you have any thoughts on Wato versus Doki?
I thought it kind of struggled to get going. Really, ideally, probably would have been a little bit shorter. But it was okay. I thought it was okay. To be honest,
Gotcha.
I didn't think a lot of it. I didn't think a lot of either performance. Well, I didn't think it was bad or anything. I just thought it was just kind of went a little too long. AO loves Master Wato, don't he? I don't get it.
It's that
He's a nice little wrestler. You know what I'm saying? But
his finishers are cool as fuck. That like weird like side slam pin thing he does, and then that like his German way he kind of like flies you very high vertically before doing like what I'm talking about. That German he does is
he's nice.
Those
you know what I'm saying, he's nice, but
those are his deep six and end of days. His two like little things he does at the end of matches, those are cool as fuck. And I don't know. I'm down with Wato Mania. I'm in on it.
I don't say I'm not down with Wato Mania. I'm down with Wato, just not that. I'm not riding out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's gonna be a pushed, very solid junior heavyweight for the next 7 years.
That's nice.
Yeah,
good for him.
That's what he's gonna be. Like he is going to be a heavyweight. Sorry, a junior heavyweight staple.
He's Boss J win. The final of that was really good. From what I remember,
wasn't it him and Teton? That match was fucking incredible.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, and he had a lot of good showings in that. And yeah, like I said, he's a good wrestler. But like I said, our boy AO, he's it's one of his big five.
AO tweeted this tweet that's just glorious. He said, "Swerve, Montez, and Dawkins as the mogul prophets, and it's Vince Carter, former NBA player, just like on the verge of tears." And I got to be honest, Monty. Listen, brother.
Amen.
Oh, Amen. Oh, baby.
Can you even throw Stokey in there or some shit? I don't know.
Hunter has gotten away with a lot. He'll look really bad at them niggas leave. Like he
100%.
His sake, he gotta he has to find a way to not let that happen.
I think he looks bad. He kind of looks bad anyway with Bobby going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people just being like, "How do you miss with the pride, bro? Like, how do you miss with that as a group? Like, how?"
Especially since Bobby likes the Fed, so and he was like, "Fuck this." But anyway, where were we?
Finley versus Taichi.
Oh,
good match. Good match.
Oh, Taichi. Just
knows what he's doing in there.
He is a bad man, Monty. This motherfucker Taichi. I remember when I first saw him, I was like, this nigga is mid and his outfit sucks. And what is this gimmick? But he had Miho Abe. I was like, all right, let's see what's going on here. Then he's transformed into a really good wrestler. And now we find ourselves in 2024 where I think straight up, Monty, he's one of the 10 best wrestlers in Japan. Now, am I biased because he does a dangerous backdrop? Yes, I am. He does Kawada's dangerous backdrop. And I'm sorry, this is one of the greatest moves of all time. When you fucking duck a clothesline and catch that nigga and just pick him up, bam! It's godly. It's godly. And he lays his shit in too. He doesn't fucking have shitty strikes. I thought this was very good. And David Finlay, the quiet story of 2024 is he's become a good wrestler. He has good matches now and they're dramatic and shit. So good for him, I suppose. His buckle bomb is quite dramatic in how he chooses to place it. And I thought they were having an excellent match before, of course, Sonata pulls the ref out the ring. And you're like, who the fuck is Sonata removes the shirt? And you're like, oh!
looking all stoic and shit.
I guess the execution, this is really good. I was like, no, who was that?
And Taichi's all confused. You don't know what's happened, and then you get the dramatic unzip.
He unzips, no. And then when you see the logo, the crowd is like, oh no. Sonata's in the Bullet Club. Taichi gets hit with the shillelagh, and yeah, he retains the global championship. Yota Tsuji will be challenging him at Wrestle Kingdom. And Sonata hits his hit his finish
in Balmain jeans.
Yeah, right. It wasn't even this epic aura entrance. He's kind of walked out like, "Yo, right, what's up?"
Doing his little smile.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. That belt's coming home to Yuya, but inshallah. Anyways, yeah, that was a fun angle. And then in the main event, of course, ZSJ and Shingo. There's no words that could describe what these guys do. They're excellent wrestlers. And no matter how many times they wrestle, like they're gonna just tear the house down, and they tore the house down here. I thought this was a genuinely great main event match here. Shingo Takagi loses to Zack Sabre Jr. after, I believe it was a Zag driver he beat him with.
Yeah.
And in the post match, Monty, Shota Umino comes out to challenge him, and you're like, oh, what the hell? You know, and so that's the Wrestle Kingdom main event. It's gonna be Shota and Zack Sabre Jr. And to be honest with you, I'm on board. Look, you gotta give these young dudes chances, and especially with Shota doing this whole thing now of being like delusional as to why he's being booed, that has like potential, genuinely, and
more potential than just
just throwing like fucking Naito or some shit. It's like, why? Like, what do you get out of that? You know what I mean? So listen, give the kid the Wrestle Kingdom main event. Let's see what happens, and let's see if he can develop this direction for himself. But that's not where the fun ended, folks, because Ricochet comes out and fucking does a jumping springboard clothesline to ZSJ. That's your Wrestle Dynasty match. And like I touched on earlier, really happy for Ricochet. And like I said at the top of the show, I thought this show was awesome. Really, really good. Brought my joy back. Maybe the best New Japan show of the year. I got to think about it. I can't remember the last one I saw that was this like interesting, because it was really good wrestling, and I also like care about the directions, which I can't say for every New Japan show I've seen this year.
It's Wrestle Kingdom season now, you know.
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. And there is
everything matters. Like every title scene direction matters. You know,
yeah,
exactly. When you get these turns like the Sonata one, which I found hilarious, but like it's just interesting going into this time of year, you know. But you know, like Ibi's already spoke about Shota's like character direction taking a change recently, and it's like, how's that going to play? How's it going to work? Because there is promise with Shota. It's just that like his 2024 form has been like, you know, so it's just like there's a good wrestler in there somewhere. It seems like he got a bit sidetracked and all over the place, and hopefully this is kind of the this, as Ibu said, hopefully this main event is like these huge opportunities, as big as an opportunity as it gets in that promotion, you know. But maybe it makes everything clear for him going into 2025. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Let's take it home with some super chats, Monty.
We've got free. Black Yakuza 94, $10. Appreciate it as always. I'm surprised Cody and Gunther got such an average rating on Cage Match. People must have really wanted Cody to lose, or it's too slow. Cody pinned Roman and Gunther this year, by the way. Hashtag QB1. You know what I didn't mention when we were talking about Cody Gunther? I don't think you touched on it much. Bro, the crowd came alive for that match as well, which really helped.
It had the most enjoyment of the show.
By far, bro. It's like they were waiting for that match. Like, it's mad.
I think it says a lot. Look, at the end of the day, Saudi.
It's a lot about Cody Rhodes, bro. They're in Saudi Arabia, and he's over as fuck, bro.
The bottom line is like, you could say like this about the big characters and the bloodline and stuff, but like these fans got up the most for the match that they knew was going to be the best match of the show. They wanted to see two top wrestlers wrestle.
Yeah, 100%. I love the atmosphere for it. Triple Stroke, $10 Australian. Street Profits greater than Private Party, but the latter's booked better. Hashtag noticing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Profits are like unbelievable, but they've been booked like doo doo for.
Yeah, it's blasphemous that they've had only that one title reign, and it was so good.
Insane. You
know? Yeah. Super Pony 199. Is it Kevin Owens versus Randy at Survivor Series since Cody won't be there?
I don't know. I hope not. I want Cody to wrestle on the show. I'll give you guys your Buck scoop before I forget. They're done for the year. The reason why they dropped the belts at Dynamite last week is because that was their last contractually obligated date of the year. And so that's why they jobbed. The plan was always for them to drop the belts at that show. It wasn't always going to be to Private Party, but they were always going to lose it on that show because that was their last date.
Quick super chat, SMG $5. Any interest on what the end game is with Adam Cole, Roddy, and Kyle O'Reilly, or are we done with the Undisputed Era in 2024?
Yeah, I don't care. I like all those wrestlers, but I don't care about that. Well, I don't mean Cole is whatever, but I don't care about that specific situation, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. Now, to be honest, I would actually like them to kind of like have some sort of like What's the word I'm looking for? I can't find. I don't know, man. I'm blanking. It's late. It's 1 a.m. in the UK. You know. It would be cool to have them kind of like, I don't know, like recognize the fact that all three of them together. You know, you don't have to do like a full-on storyline. You know, they can bump into each other backstage. You know, what are we doing? You know, especially now that they've done all the stuff with like Kyle watching them from afar and stuff. You know, I do think someone needs to come of it, but I just don't think it needs to be like this big dramatic. Fucking, oh, so and so turned on so and so, and now we're getting this pay-per-view match. So, acknowledge, that's the word I was looking for. Fucking hell, proper like, I'm washed. I am. But yeah, that was the last super chat as well, either. So
cool. I had a lot of fun with this show. We actually got to like break down wrestling and not just read super chats, so that was nice. And hopefully Anna comes back soon. We miss her dearly, and so I had to just point that out because Anna is awesome, and Worldwide is not a 2-person show. It is normally a 3-person show. So hopefully Anna comes back soon.
You're not even booking substitutes anymore, bro. You know,
no,
we went a couple of weeks of booking substitutes, and
yeah, it doesn't feel right. It just feels like you gotta leave. You can't let someone sit in their chair. You know, you can't let someone sit in their chair. So hopefully Anna comes back soon. Hopefully it's next week. We miss her. We love her. Tweet at her positive things if you feel so inclined to do so. I had fun here, guys. You can see me tomorrow on WrestlePurists for the Raw. What's up?
The House of Spoken 199. Put my man Beef in the C2 and Manson 84 199. Roddy in the Hurt Business equals Owen in Nation of Domination.
That would be very funny. It would be very funny. That's a pop. But you know, it'd be funny if they just did it for a month. What if they did it for a month to just fill out tags, and at the end of it, MVP was like, "Psych, white boy," and they just stop him out or something. You know, just throw him out. And they're like, "You think we let your crack ass in the hurts in the
on some Teddy Long sheet?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Remove this crack out from my show.
Is Teddy on a Legends deal? Because I need him to make a cameo.
I think he is, yeah.
Oh,
hold on. Berserk, $10. Ibu's extensive knowledge and memory on pro wrestling is so interesting. Aww.
That's nice. Berserk, thank you. Appreciate that.
Right.
But in that case, folks, enjoy Raw if you're so inclined to do so. Dragon Lee faces Chad Gable tonight. That'll be fun. They go 14 minutes, so look forward to that. We find out a new World Heavyweight Championship contender, and we'll talk about that tomorrow on the WrestlePurists Raw review. So that's what's happening tonight on USA. I will be watching probably some 1989 NWA, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And make sure to get out and vote if that's what you want to do. And
make sure you go out and vote if that's what you want to do.
Because look,
you're going to tell people to vote, aren't you supposed to tell them to vote? You know.
Well, because without taking another block of time, it's like there's nothing to be.
No, I'm not saying telling them who to vote for.
I'm saying like the Kobe Bryant meme. What's there to be happy about? But go listen. If you want to pick who's going to destroy our country next, feel free to do that, I guess. But go vote. Exercise your right. Vote for whoever the fuck you want to vote for. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.